Hello, and welcome to Mr. Payne Games, where I'll attempt to help you game your English class. If you're just now finding this channel and you like this content, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button so you won't miss new episodes. Also, tap that like button while you're down there. I'm still new to this, but they tell me it helps if you do that, so hook me up. In any good story, there's a certain amount of world building that has to be done. You might not think that's true. I mean, if the story takes place in the real world, the place you live, then why would it have to be created? Well, the thing is, in order for the story to make sense, there are certain things that people need to know. The way you set up your story, even a true story, determines how people respond to it. It could even determine whether they understand or not. Okay, so let me break it down with an example. If I want to tell the hilarious story about the time I slipped on the ice at work, people need to know from the beginning that it's winter. I don't want to say, "One time I stepped out the door at work and slipped. It was icy out and down I went." That isn't funny. It's just a sad excuse for a story. Instead, I want to set the stage. There was a time that I was working overnight shifts, and one night, late in fall of the year, there was a heavy mist all night long. You could tell by looking out the windows that everything was damp with the moisture in the air, but I never expected for the ground to be frozen. Telling the story this way helps people understand the situation from the start. Then, when I get to the real action of the story, my great fall and sore backside, I get to use language that highlights the humor. What I'm talking about in literary terms is setting. Setting is basically when and where the story takes place. The Mass Effect games begin in the year 2148. Why is that important, you might ask? Well, because the kind of technology that the game is based on does not exist yet, for one thing. But that isn't all. The game's creators didn't just build a world, they built a galaxy, a universe, well, I honestly don't know what the difference is. The point is, there's a lot to explore in these games. Each star cluster has planets that have chemical makeups. There are alien species who have detailed histories and distinct qualities, or traits. Some places have atmospheres that are toxic, while others are much like Earth. How do these setting details impact the story? Well, in a number of ways. On the surface, the setting can impact the mood of the story or how the story makes you feel as a player, reader, or viewer. In the mission that I'm playing now, you can see that the environment is extremely foggy. As a player, I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going. I can't see very far in front of my character. This creates an uneasy feeling, like I could be ambushed any moment. But on a deeper level, the setting is important because it gives the story more depth. On a deeper level, it adds depth. Funny how that works. Dad jokes for the win. Commander Shepard has to save the world, galaxy, whatever, right? In order to do that, he or she has to put together a team of individuals who can work together. Often, these individuals are from different alien species that have had conflict in the past. They just don't play nice together. In this case, the political climate, or that's what I'm going to call it for now, is even more important than the physical setting, because the fate of the galaxy will be determined by these individuals. Where they come from is important. Check out this scene where Morden tries, unsuccessfully in my opinion, to justify the near genocide of the Krogan species. Okay, the captions here are not perfectly clear all the way through, and I didn't record game audio, so I'm going to read through some of this and try to keep you up to speed with what's going on. Morden says, "Shepard, I have important news. Do you know what the genophage is?" And Shepard says, "Tell me more about it. Get me up to date." Morden says, "Okay. 1,000 years ago, the Krogan were spreading throughout the universe, throughout the galaxy, and they were threatening galactic stability, so we had to come up with a dramatic solution, which we called the genophage. Essentially, what the genophage does is affect Krogan birth rates." Shepard says, "Okay, tell me more about that." Morden says, So, what we did impacts a lot of the biological stuff with the mothers, and he talks about a lot of scientific stuff that maybe makes sense to some people. But the end result is that the babies never develop immune systems, which means that only 1 out of 1,000 Krogan babies survive, which is really dramatic. A lot. Like, that's a lot of babies. He says the Solarians didn't plan on actually using this biological weapon. We just wanted to sort of bring the Krogan to the table and say, hey, straighten up, we have this weapon. But the Turians, who are more warlike, said, no, we're going to use this weapon. Shepard says, you seem pretty casual about this, Morden. And Morden says, well, we did what we had to do. It was either us or them, and they were a threat. And that's really kind of the long and short of it. This background on the alien races and the tension between them is a very important part of the setting too, although it's more abstract than the physical location or historical era. So you see, really good world building, creating vivid settings both literally and metaphorically, is a really important part of all storytelling. It determines what's possible in the world that you're creating, reading about, or gaming in, and it often works hand in hand with other literary elements like conflict and symbolism. I hope that this explanation helps you remember what setting refers to and why it's important. In the comments section, tell me if you like stories with real-world, futuristic, or even fantasy settings, and while you're there, let me know if you have other questions about setting that I haven't addressed. Once again, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, maybe even share my video with a friend. Until next time, go out there and make the universe a better place.